No, because you gave me to, I'm not having that.
Okay, right for me. This is the Spotlight on Media to Africa TV, coming to you live from Washington, D.C. Welcome to today's program to our viewers all across the world. As the 2025 presidential election approaches, it remains a question as to whose political reforms appeals to the public and who has the potential to shape Cameroon's future. And today we will be looking at the candidacy of Honorable Joshua Osih, the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, and his chances at the upcoming elections. The Social Democratic Front, SDF, officially confirmed Joshua Osih as its candidate for the 2025 presidential elections, following an extraordinary convention held in Yaoundé Sports Complex on Saturday, March 1st, 2025. Joshua Osih, age 57, was the sole candidate for the party's leadership and received the full support from the National Advisory Council, solidifying his position as the SDF's flag bearer. This marks Joshua Osih's second attempt at the presidency, having previously contested in 2018 election, where he came out a distant fourth position. During the convention, the SDF outlined its major political commitment for 2025-2026. It voted into power. It laid strong emphasis on governance, reforms, and socio-economic transformation. Among the key promises was a 100-day plan to end violence in the Northwest and Southwest regions, a pressing issue in Cameroon's ongoing crisis that has been going for over 9 years. Other major commitments included a 1 year to restore the dignity of the Grand North population, transforming Cameroon's socio-economic landscape within one mandate, and introducing free ID cards for all citizens. Curious onlookers would want to know more about the candidate and his chances at the upcoming elections. Honorable Joshua Osih is the national chairman of the SDF since 2023 and member of parliament of Wuri, Douala First District since 2013. In 2013, he became the first Anglophone Cameroonian to serve as a member of parliament in Douala in the littoral region of Cameroon. Osih holds an MBA in leadership and sustainability and has more than 25 years of experience in the aviation industry, notably in operations and management, an established entrepreneur in Cameroon for the past 25 years. He conducts business in aviation, ecotourism, hospitality, and aquaculture, employing about 200 people. He is also the founder and managing director of the notable companies called Camport PLC and Africa Travel Management. As a flag bearer for the SDF, he was the hope of millions of Cameroonians who have never experienced a democratic transition since independence, and strongly believe that these elections will be the last chance for a democratic chance to occur and liberate them from an 80 or 92-year-old incumbent, Paul Biya, who had been in office for 43 years now. So welcome again, and today I have an honorable number of my panelists that represent different ideologies and political affiliations, even though they're not here in their official capacities as representatives of those parties. So I have here in studio with me Michelle Wamba, is a political analyst and a diaspora activist. Michelle, thank you for honoring the invitation. And I also have Jojo Fokwa, who is the president of the Diaspora Patriots for a Prosperous Nation. He also is a political analyst, is a member of the CPDM section in the USA. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have the permanent consultant, Mr. Kenneth Day, who would be joining us remotely from Virginia this afternoon. Kenneth, welcome. Kenneth, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're going to get straight into it, and gentlemen, I hope we're going to disagree to agree. It is very imperative for us to understand that these are political discussions. It has nothing to do with our own personal relationships, but it is key for us to bear in mind that Cameroon is at an inflection point that needs all the living forces to contribute their ideas into salvaging what is left of that country. So I'm hopeful that we would engage in a constructive dialogue and to make sure that we give the viewers an opportunity to understand what is at stake in Cameroon. As per the topic for today, we thought it is quite necessary for the electorate to begin to really get to know those who are aspiring to the supreme magistracy in that country. And today we'll be focusing on the chances of the SDF and their candidate and flag bearer, Honorable Joshua Osih. Now my first question would definitely maybe open the discussions here. In his newly created podcast, titled Osih for the People, my question to you, the panelists, has Honorable Joshua Osih ever been for the people or for himself and the SDF political party? Michelle, I will give you the choice to begin this conversation. Please, let's keep it straight to the topic of discussion so that we'll have the chance to really engage in a much more fruitful conversation this afternoon. Thank you. Michelle.
Thank you. You are welcome. It's my pleasure anytime when I came here to speak with you guys, and always say it's an opportunity for me to talk about our country, our continent, and this will be another opportunity to talk about what's going to be in 2025 for election. Let me explain that in French. Je voudrais dire bonsoir d'abord à tous mes co-panélistes, aux techniciens Lati Camfoot, à ceux qui sont de l'autre côté, que nous prendrons en ligne. Et je voudrais ici donc affirmer que je suis toujours heureux d'être sur ces plateaux. Et la thématique que vous avez choisie ce soir, en parlant du candidat Osih, je pense que même en commençant par lui, parce que quand on passe soit par un tirage au sort, soit par un classement, ça prouve déjà que ce candidat a toutes les chances pour être le futur président du Cameroun. Je pourrais, tout au cours de cette émission, vous démontrer pourquoi il est le seul à même d'apporter un changement radical, systématique, après 43 ans de délabrement que ce pays, le Cameroun, a connu avec les dirigeants du RDPC. Donc, une fois de plus, merci pour l'opportunité que vous me donnez d'entamer ce débat. Merci.
Thank you. Jojo, what do you think? Looking at the podcast that Honorable Joshua Osih is currently doing now in view of the upcoming elections. That podcast is titled Osih for the People. Has Joshua Osih ever been for the people?
Let me seize this opportunity to say, first of all, thank you for this beautiful platform, which is Media to Africa. Let me thank all the Cameroonians who, as we are speaking, are on the air to listen to this beautiful exchange on this platform, which have been growing very beautifully. We have to thank the whole technical team, especially the director, Jules Lati, and you yourself, Mr. Tabenyan, who've been doing a great job for our community abroad in the diaspora to make sure that we can bring all together our energy because we are really hardworking here to make sure that we can be part of the growth. We are having a very important topic here today, which is how the landscaping of Cameroon in the future will be looking in at the end of this election coming up in October. What I want to say here is not just to say hello to all my panelists. The question that you've been asking is very important. We still trying to understand. We're still expecting the total shape up, the total shape of what we'll be looking at as the candidate who's going to be on the beginning of the race of this election coming up in October 2025. It's going to be it's a very critical moment for our whole nation. Maybe I start this conversation with I present myself. I'm President Jojo, leader of the Diaspora of Patriot of Cameroon, member of the section of CPDM in the United States. So I'm here pretty much as president of the diaspora. So a lot of people know me as a CPDM cheerleader. So the question is very interesting. Joshua Osih close to the people or away from the crowd? I would say I've met him once. Very brilliant person, very intelligent leader, young blood. There's no more word to say, but all I want to say is I've been making some research out to this topic of the debate of today. I happen to realize people kind of complain about Joshua Osih kind of be kind of elitist, which means what? Away from the community. I don't know. Maybe I'm in America. I visit Cameroon in and out, but for what I retrieve for my own research, Joshua Osih is kind of away from the crowd. That's what I heard on my own research. So on that end, I'll end here.
Thank you, Jojo, and I would come back to you. Please hold that thought. I know Michelle would want to counter that, given that the person in Setudi is as elitist as it can be. Maybe that is just the situation in Cameroon, where all the politicians are all elitists. Kenneth, can you come in here on that same question?
Brado, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, great. I think what Joshua OC, SDF chairman, is doing now is a very brilliant attempt to have an ongoing conversation with the people. If you notice, the government, which is the CPDM, which is opposed to SDF, CPDM lacks a coherent communication with the public. As a matter of fact, here in the United States, we have what you call a White House press secretary. And the White House press secretary should, they go out there, even provide at a minimum weekly what happens. In the presidency in Cameroon, we have what they call a cellule de communication de la présidence de la République. They actually, their focus is to miscommunicate with the public. So what Joshua Osih is doing for the SDF, I think it's a good thing. He's trying to get in tune with Cameroonians at large through various platforms, social media in particular, which is made up of the younger generation who are in tune with social media. Um, I believe also that Joshua Osih, he became chairman of SDF at a time that the party was going through a lot of turmoil. His tenure, he became chairman, in my humble opinion, maybe like even 10 years late, you know. The previous show, has had a little bit of a hard time acclimatizing with the public, and also especially with what the French would call Cameroon Occidental, which is actually where he does come from, the southern Cameroons. A few years before he became chairman, war essentially broke out in the southern Cameroons, and it was quite difficult for him to implant himself within that territory. He's done one or two tours nationally, which I'm aware of, to get in tune with with everyone, and the masses of the people throughout all the regions. Um, so I mean, I heard a few that what Jojo said earlier, that he sounds elitist. Well, I mean, I don't know how much of a reality that is, but I think he's doing a good job with his podcast and getting in tune with the people.
But still, there, I think every political party has a base. And in one of those podcasts, he lamented the fact that the ongoing conflict in the southern Cameroons decimated the base of the SDF. If you go to the northwest region, I don't think the SDF has a single parliamentarian. Neither do they have a single parliamentarian from the southwest region. So, what is the present stronghold of the SDF party? And what is different between now and 2018, given that the manifesto and the vision looks like identical twins? In 2018, he came a distant fourth. What has changed? Elekam has not changed. The political realities in Cameroon has not changed. How do you convince the electorate that I am running again? So this time is different when the conditions are still the same. Michel.
Merci une fois de plus. Je pense que comparer 2018 à 2025 maintenant, là, je pense qu'il y a quand même une différence. Les mouvements, primo, le mouvement qui avait pignon sur eux, c'est-à-dire les Amazoniens, ont été reconnus même au niveau des États-Unis comme une nébuleuse, c'est-à-dire un mouvement terroriste. La vie a repris son cours normal dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest. La preuve, le SDF, la région SDF du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest a bien été installée. Le SDF est dans toutes les 10 régions du Cameroun. Les réunions du SDF se tiennent là-bas. Alors qu'en 2018, le fait seulement d'être reconnu comme un militant du nord-ouest, du SDF dans le nord-ouest était déjà dangereux pour sa vie. Ça veut dire tout simplement que cette situation n'est plus la même. Le SDF, présentement, est le seul parti qui a déjà parcouru les 360 communes du Cameroun et a les représentants sur toute la surface nationale. Et vous savez, une des erreurs que plusieurs fois les Camerounais commettent, c'est souvent de croire que ce sont les gens qui viennent sur les plateaux de télévision parler, sont les seuls qui sont vus et entendus au pays, ce qui est faux. Le SDF a adopté une stratégie de proximité, de bouche à oreille, de porte en porte, qui porte ses fruits. Déjà, certains sondages, comme vous pouvez vérifier ça sur Mediatude, donnent le candidat du SDF largement vainqueur devant celui du RDPC. On ne sait même pas déjà s'il sera candidat parce qu'il y a des spéculations qui parlent de son fils. Et on sait aussi que dans ce parti, le président du parti est le candidat naturel. Bon, pour nous, peu importe, vu son âge, on sait qu'il n'a plus les capacités pour diriger un pays. dans un pays normal où les gens ont encore toute leur mémoire, on ne peut pas tenir un tel monsieur comme président et je ne crois pas qu'il est même candidat puisque les seuls partis politiques qui se sont déclarés en ce moment, parce qu'il faut tenir compte de la réalité présente au moment où nous parlons par rapport à ceux qui se sont déclarés. C'est ceux-là que nous voyons comme adversaires du SDF. Je voudrais parler du candidat déclaré, par exemple, celui du PUS, celui du parti de quoi là, c'est Akeremuna. Il y a qui encore Cabral Libi qui s'est déclaré. Donc ça c'est ce que nous voyons comme adversaire. Mais compte tenu de l'implication du SDF sur le terrain, je pense que c'est le seul parti qui peut les battre parce que le programme que le SDF présente, c'est un programme qui est basé sur un changement systématique. On prévoit le fédéralisme dedans. Quelque chose que le RDPC a tenté de récupérer en parlant de décentralisation et qui n'a jamais marché. Ils n'ont jamais su comment le mettre en application. Donc cette vision est une opportunité pour les Camerounais de se réapproprier leur souveraineté. Parce que le combat pour l'avenir, c'est le combat pour nous réapproprier notre pays et imposer nous-mêmes ce qui sont nos valeurs, ce que nous pouvons présenter à la face du monde. Donc le candidat Joshua Osih, par exemple, il a présenté lors de son du congrès qu'il a porté comme candidat du SDF 5 points importants que tout le monde a suivi. Mais comme nous sommes à la veille des élections qui seront dans 6 mois, il est quand même difficile d'étaler tout son programme parce qu'on sait que des adversaires comme ceux du RDPC n'ont aucun programme. C'est vraiment nu, c'est vierge, ils n'ont aucun programme. Ils attendent que nous passons sur les plateaux de télévision afin qu'ils récupèrent ce qu'ils peuvent retenir, aller mentir la population. La preuve, en 43 ans, le pays est dans un délabrement total. Donc, vraiment, je merci pour la parole.
Thank you, Michel. I know Jojo is eager to respond, but before we get to Jojo, Kenneth, back to you. The question was, every political party has a base. And historically, the two regions of Cameroon had been the political base of the SDF party. In one of his podcasts, I think he had that with Barrister Bobala, Honorable Joshua Osih lamented the fact that because of the separatist assault on the northwest and southwest region, the SDF completely lost those two regions. I am very surprised why he would have to lay the blame on the separatists. Every other political party that is in that region had the same conditions. So if the CPDM party went in there and regained, whether by fraud or by free and transparent elections, it was the same conditions in that region. So what is the political base of the SDF as of now? And what has changed since 2018? Like I said, I have gone through the vision presented during the convention in Yaoundé when he was elected the flag bearer. It looks practically like a mirror image of what they presented in 2018. The push to solve the crisis, the economic rejuvenation of the country. A lot of these talking points were basically in the 2018 manifesto. What is the difference now?
Okay. The SDF national base or its official office, I believe, is somewhere in Yaoundé. The building at Commercial Avenue, which used to, well, it was owned by Nijon Fundi, where they moved the party headquarters. I believe that is the headquarters now for the Northwest region. So you can argue and say that, okay, the HQ for the party, it remains in Yaoundé, which is the former Federal Capital Territory. Now, um, it is true because of the our English speaking or Southern Cameroon's problems. 2018, I mean, we couldn't we couldn't have anything meaningful politically within the Southern Cameroons. Okay, if you take a look at what the government did in 1990, moving forward, the government did everything in its power to portray SDF as an Anglophone party. But unfortunately for this same government, in 1992, even Ambassador Francis Cook, together with Ambassador, well, Tibor Nagy, who is now at the State Department, Nijon Fundi won. So the government of Cameroon, or CPDM, the chairman Paul Biya, they did everything to portray SDF as an Anglophone party. Just because, of course, yes, SDF has its roots addressing the Anglophone problem. But as SDF became national and soundly defeated Paul Biya in 1992, Cameroonians voted SDF. Again, proof of the fact that it's a national party. You have, or in fact, that the masses of the people in Cameroon, as long as you present yourself to them, they are going to vote for you, as opposed to what the elites are doing. It's quite a different thing, you know.
Kenneth, Kenneth, let me bring you back.
Honorable Joshua is
Kenneth,
MP in
Kenneth,
Littoral, Prado. We had an Anglophone MP in the Obili in the of CPDM in the Obili area in Yaoundé. There was an Anglophone panel MP from there as well.
that
So,
I think the historical aspect of it, we all know it, Kenneth. The question was, what is the political base of the SDF party? In as much as you can argue that it is a national party, even here in the US, when you talk about the Democratic Party, you know their political base is mostly in the east of the country. The Republicans predominantly dominate the south. So every political party has a base. Even the CPDM, the base is in the central, east, and south region. So that my question was, what is the base? Given that in the two strongholds that the SDF had its birth, and the West region, if you see, I did not include the West region because I know the MROC had made tremendous inroads in the West region, and the CPDM is also contesting that region. What is the political base of the SDF as of today?
well, I believe it still remains where it was. Most of it, I would say, it's in Yaoundé, of course, in Yaoundé, where the chairman was voted, the chairman John Funi was voted, even in Quartier General, it's in the central province. And of course, yes, the well, not province, region, what have you, the west region and the north and southwest regions. Um, these are, you see, okay, so Brado, this brings me now to the other point which you had mentioned, right? Is Joshua close to the people, or what is different from 2018, right? Okay, if you look at the way, and I had studied the electoral code of Cameroon long time ago when it was enacted, and few years later when it was actually changed for the Ministry of Territorial Administration to announce the elections and not Eleka. The necessary prerequisites for a fair election have not been met. If only all the opposition parties could put their heads together and get these necessary prerequisites: registration of voters, validation of the voters register, publication of the list, and so on and so forth. then if they could just agree on that platform and eventually present a single candidate. And yes, I mean, like you said a few moments ago, 2018, as far as the political climate, we still have an ongoing call it war, if you would, in the northwest and southwest regions. So how are people going to vote there? So even though there is a semblance of the fact that, oh, we have MPs from the Northwest, or we have MPs from the Southwest and whatnot of CPDM and not SDF, I would say that's more of a semblance of things. It's just because the government, CPDM, hijacked the electorate. And because of the Southern Cameroon's problem, people refused to vote. The government went ahead and made announcements of people whom they claim were voted. Those guys were never voted as CPDM representatives. You can argue and say they were selected. They were never voted.
Jojo, I want you to come in here with that same question and the same argument. Like I said, charity begins at home. So everybody has a base. Can we argue that the SDF has no political base now as compared to 2018, even before 2018? That everybody who was a curious observer of the political situation in Cameroon would clearly point to you that the SDF has a base in the West Province, the Southwest region, the Northwest region, and even to a certain extent the northern regions of Cameroon. But as of today, if you look at you read the political tea leaves in the country, it is hard for you to really say this is the base of the SDF. Why?
Thank you. Before I move directly to your question, let me emphasize something which is very important here. We have to understand one thing. I don't understand why we talking about country has to be run by the young people or the old people. We live in America. When you have believe that you're strong enough, you get into the swimming pool and you swim. You understand? So this was just a way to clarify certain things that my panelists have said here earlier. So I think in Cameroon, when you're strong enough, you believe that you can fight. You get on the ring and you start to give some punch to whoever is your adversary. Your question is to know if SDF have a base in Cameroon. We already know that SDF doesn't exist. There's no more SDF in Cameroon. SDF is some people who try to recuperate, if that's the word, of some of the remedians of some, what they used to say, chairman, power to the people. Knowing Cameroonians and know how we are very recuperative. Like, oh, when Ganu wins, he's a Cameroonian. When he loses, he's a Batier. He's a Batier. He's from the village. He's from this village. He's not a Cameroonian. So it's sad to look how our political spectrum is going to that direction, where a political party have to be stigmatized to a special region. Why? You can be SDF, have your headquarters in Marwa, and fighting to run the 10 region of Cameroon and make Cameroon be a great country. I just understand why, even the question I will ask to the journalist Tabinian right here, why should a party have to have a base in where the constituency can be related either to the language which is more spoken in that region or to the other why we are saying Cameroonian is one and indivisible. I'm here on this platform, I'm French speaking. Am I not speaking clear English enough to be understood by the PFG, all the engineers who live in America? I believe even in the White House, President Trump will listen to me speaking. All I'm saying is this: we need to build a new aura of politics in Cameroon. This is too getting sickening. It's very sickening. Why? We have great doctors, great aggregate engineers. We have in all the aisle of technology and education, great Cameroonian. But when we sit on a television platform like this, we discuss like we talk about the puff puff on Kukulu. We talk about Njama Njama Kati Kati. We need to step up the thinking. We need to step up the vision. That's the way I'm looking at it. I've been to the Western world too long enough. And one thing I want to emphasize again, when we believe that, when I heard like, my co-panelist, Brother Kenneth, they said, the Grand Frère, oh, even in 1992, I believe CPDM won election because such and such ambassador, Western ambassadors say so. Why do we still believe it's to the white men or the Westerners to come and grant the truth among us? Why can we just believe that? We as people of color have to look each other face to face and put down black and white on paper what is true, and that we believe in as constitution, as the way to go, as the blueprint of our country, way forward. We need to stop this. I'm sorry, Brother Kenneth. I don't care what the ambassador of the United States is saying in Cameroon, because they're all there for their own interests, okay? If SDF was their interest at the time, I believe they would have granted SDF winning. If CPDM won, maybe this is just what I believe. After I was very young in 1992. So when I grew up into this spectrum, traveled the world, I understood we need to be very humble and start to love each other and trust each other. So for the question, I still believe that SDF in Cameroon is just like that butterfly who don't know where is the tree because the butterfly lives 24 hours. So the SDF is just flying and using the all remedies of ashes of 1992, where anytime you talk about SDF, say on a Ganyan Katrevendos. It's sad. It's very sad. SDF need to step up the game. You talk about CPJ have a 92 years leaders, Paul Biya. SDF have I believe Joshua Osih must be in the 50s and the 60s. Let's say 60s, early 60s. Yeah, I believe early 60s. How many crowd is he bringing around him in terms of youth? To say that, okay, since everybody claims that the youth is the one that built a country, we in America, the head of state is 80 years old. The Senate is all 70s, 80s. What's going on? Trust me, anybody in the chain of life play his role. The young people carry the guns, the general in the office reading the strategy. And that's how the world works. I believe what I'm saying might not please anybody on this panel, but all I'm saying is like, let me just be a little bit honest. SDF is gone, and they're just trying to grab a little bit of this, a little bit of that by putting a young figure. Doesn't mean that SDF gonna just jack up from that. They need to have a deep inside work. It's a great party. Opposition is a good for democracy. I'm not against SDF, but you have to step in the game.
I think I agree with you to a certain extent as far as having the Western European elites dictate to us on how we have to run our own daily activities. And but to go back to the idea and the basis of that question about where is the strong political base for the SDF, that does not in any way negate the fact that the SDF is a national party. Every political dispensation, even here in the US, if you talk about the Democratic Party here in Maryland, there's the base. The Republican is not going to happen that the Republicans are going to win this state in a general election. That is what I was asking about the base, and if the SDF has become a shadow of itself. Michelle, I'm coming to you. I know you're itching to hit back on what Jojo was saying, but it's as we begin to be really honest with one another, is that maybe some of us are just being nostalgic of the days, again, going back to 1992, when you saw the chairman raise his fist to power to the people across the entire country. And you could see masses of people in most of the events that were organized during that 1992. And it ended up mobilizing the people. But now it's just like everybody is just sitting in their small studio and talking to each other. you can't deny the fact that the major forces of the SDF, most of them are no longer members of that party. There is no way anybody is going to deny that. From the Secretary General, the people who were kicked out of the party, the intellectual base of the party, that does not mean that Osih cannot regroup and provide a different vision. My concern that I was trying to really get the panelists to look into was, okay, he took the same vision in 2018. Michel said, oh, it's difficult for us to compare 2018 with 2025. The same reasons that he could not go to the southern Cameroons or the two English-speaking regions, the same conditions are still there, and he points to it. He has not been to his own village for the past 9 years. How can you now say that things are beginning to get normal when to go into those regions, I think as early as last week, if you follow social media, you see some of the Cameroon soldiers who were killed in that region. So the same conditions are still there. There might be minor changes, but are those changes enough to bring the SDF back to its glory days, Michel?
Merci, mon cher. Vraiment, je ne vais pas tomber sur ce piège où vous voulez ramener le SDF comme un parti d'une zone du Cameroun. C'est justement le problème que nous avons eu en 2018 quand les Ambazoniens voulaient que le SDF se retire de la compétition et laisser croire au monde entier que c'était un parti anglophone. Il y a très longtemps que le SDF a pris l'envergure d'être un parti national. Je vous ai dit que lors de la dernière convention extraordinaire, les représentants du SDF venaient de tous les 10 régions. Et vous pouvez vérifier, les bases, les structures de base du SDF sont dans tout le Cameroun, dans les 360. Nous considérons que la base du Cameroun, du SDF, c'est l'ensemble du Cameroun. Peut-être que vous ne voulez pas admettre ça. Je sais que c'est une lutte que l'Ambazonie a voulu imposer. C'est pourquoi les Ambazoniens tuaient tous nos militants ou alors tous ceux qui se réclamaient du SDF dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest. Joshua aussi a pris le courage en se disant, quel que soit le résultat, nous allons démontrer que le SDF est un parti national. Et c'est pourquoi il a pris le risque d'aller aux élections malgré tout ce désordre, avec le score que ça a donné. Mais vous savez, je vais vous dire quelque chose pour vous démontrer cela. Vous savez que dans la diaspora, là, que nous parlons diaspora, nous sommes environ inscrits, répertoriés par les ambassades, environ 6,5 millions dans les registres des ambassades sur les 5 continents. La forte concentration des Camerounais à l'étranger se trouve au Nigeria, environ 2 millions. Le deuxième pays, c'est l'Allemagne. Après la France, le Gabon. Le Gabon, la Côte d'Ivoire. Et puis les États-Unis. Donc, depuis que tous ces gens sont partis des zones de conflit, se sont installés à travers le monde, est-ce qu'on peut encore considérer qu'il n'y a que dans ces régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest où on doit loger le SDF? Ça, c'est ma première question. Et puis, les mentalités ont évolué. Les Camerounais de 2025 ne réfléchissent plus comme les Camerounais de 1992 ou alors 1990 quand nous sommes revenus sur le multipartisme. Il y a eu beaucoup d'évolutions. La société a évolué, il y a des nouveaux objets, les réseaux sociaux, les médias et consorts qui permettent qu'on communique où qu'on soit. Nous sommes ici aux États-Unis, nous parlons, les gens nous écoutent à travers le monde. Aujourd'hui, grâce à cette évolution. Donc, penser qu'un parti politique doit avoir l'ancrage spécifiquement dans une zone, comme peut-être l'UDC le fait, vraiment, il faut lui retirer cette étiquette, ça n'a pas de sens. Le SDF a évolué. Le SDF d'aujourd'hui n'est pas le SDF de 90. Quel que soit ce que vous pouvez dire, ou alors faire croire aux gens, sachez que le SDF est un parti qui est national. Et son programme ne s'étale pas sur les zones dont vous citez. Son programme s'étale sur l'ensemble du Cameroun. Et quand on dit fédéralisme, ce n'est pas uniquement donner les opportunités aux régions du nord-ouest ou du sud-ouest. C'est de trouver un système qui va faire en sorte que, quels que soient les Camerounais, du nord, du sud, de l'est ou à l'ouest, qu'ils se sentent impliqués dans ce système qui va leur apporter du bien-être social ou économique.
Yes,
Ça, c'est mon opinion.
I'm happy with your position.
Yes.
The problem with that position is it is Osih himself who deplored the fact that the separatists undermine the SDF in their stronghold, which is the Northwest and the Southwest.
In 2018, but it's not.
That's why I'm asking about where is the base now, because if he is the chairperson and the flag bearer, who during one of those podcasts he said the separatists undermine the ability of the SDF to win in their strongholds, meaning that he's conceding that he has lost the stronghold, whether it's because of the separatists, as he claims, or it's because the CPDM has become much more stronger in those regions. That is the reason why I was asking that where exactly is the base? Jojo.
Thank you for giving me the floor once again. I'm listening to my co-panelist right here on my left, and it's unbelievable how naive my co-panelist is. If you look how SDF, who was, of course, we all agreed was a strong party, happened in the early 1994 refused, or 97 refused to go to the election, municipal election, and lose all the seats at the National Assembly. What they call it was a huge mistake. I'm still questioning myself, was that the reason why until today SDF is having no stronghold? The honest truth is a party of snitch, people who are not serious. And since the same technology you're talking about have opened the eyes of the constituency, they understood from the chairman, Nilion Frundi, onto all the elite of the political bureau, across the aisle of the elite of the SDF, they were all crooks. So they understood we are wasting our time to this party. Some people at the top are getting the bread, and we are here dying of thirst. So why wasting our time? That's why when CPDM was bringing a real program, everybody joined the CPDM. As the journalist just say here, as CPDM is in the two regions that where there's instability or so-called instability, and CPDM people are there. You're gonna see the pancart everywhere. So SDF need to stop crying on their own weakness, which was they have the wrong leaders, starting from himself, the chairman, with a lot of respect, Things have been said about him. Can be his grandchild, but on the political endeavor is the country that wins. If a leader or political leader have done something wrong, let's say call the cat, goat. So I don't know how a party with so much of energy, so much of dream, so much of program just collapse just like that. It's questionable. I'm sorry, Michelle. You're gonna stop me a second. Let me land here. CPDM, you just mentioned earlier, I didn't want to speak because it's a very respectful platform. CPDM is the only party in Cameroon who is structured, who have representative in all the 360 department in Cameroon. We have to be honest with ourselves. It doesn't matter if they're using
you don't have any representative.
Sous-préfet is a human being who can have he choose his own political party. So we need to stop that excuse. If the sous-préfet
Monsieur, le SDPC ne peut pas gagner une élection au Cameroun. Monsieur, arrêtez
Anyway, I don't want to get into this. I don't want to get into this.
Kenneth.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
I know Jojo was getting into something,
Yes.
but is it
yes. I want to, yeah.
to buttress what he's saying? It's hard to deny the fact that the policy of expulsion that was perpetrated by the late chairman, and I think maybe even Osih in continuation. Recently, Nietzsche, who used to be a firebrand of the SDF,
No, 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 no,
right?
no, no. I not accept that. No,
And
I don't accept that.
parliamentarian,
Yes, yes.
the people knew Nietzsche as SDF parliamentarian
It's
in
not
Douala,
only
right?
Yes.
And the other big barons of the SDF that were shown the door, has that actually caused the demise of the SDF?
So, and I mean, Brado, sometimes you would tell me not to delve into history, but on a very, well, it's not even personal. When you analyze SDF a little bit, you would realize, quite frankly, that Joshua Osih became chairman of this party 10 years late. If SDF were to function properly, he should have been chairman 10 years earlier than he was. You see, what has happened in CPDM with Paul Biya is the same thing that has happened with SDF. Paul Biya ostracized and removed everyone around him who was intelligent enough. Everybody. And he became, I guess, the only person standing. Francois Sengako, who participated in writing communal liberalism, left Paul Biya a long time ago. David Aboe Machoyi, one of his first secretary generals, whom he appreciated his intelligence, had left a long time ago. I mean, I can continue, but no need to go on and on. You come to the SDF, it's almost the same thing that happened. Mr. Ben Muna, Professor Clement Guasiri, Mr. What's the, Mr. Yodum. I mean, a lot of these, the brain. In fact, SDF used to have what they call hunting dogs. Okay, hunting dogs. And in the those 90s, you had the think tank, the SDF think tank. These guys, when they thought out various processes, you had the hunting dogs who go out and implement them. SDF won the elections in 92 because SDF had a base, serious base in the north and in the far north, from Protocol all the way up to Yagua. SDF had people there, implanted. In fact, one of the vice chairmen, I can't even remember his name, but anyway, so again, long story short, the SDF chairman did a lot, almost the same thing Paul Biya did in the CPDM. By 92, Paul Biya was CPDM chairman for 10 years. SDF started in 1990. By 2000, we had the same chairman. 2010, same chairman. 2020, in fact, I don't even remember when Joshua came on board. But, so you had CPDM, same chairman, SDF, same chairman, Cameroon Democrat, CDU, same chairman, and so on and so forth. So almost the same thing. Regardless, if Jojo is serious about his CPDM, let the CPDM register the voters and publish the voter registration list so that they should not go in and be concocting results at both the level of elecam with whoever people they brought in from Germany and also the Ministry of Territorial Administration headed by I mean, I don't know. So, and then, by the way, if we go a little bit back again to this same CPDM, who is, who is their Assistant General? Gregoire Owona. Gregoire Owona came back from France in the 80s, purporting to have a degree in computer science in Douala. Let Gregoire Owona show us his degree. So you have CPDM today with Feynman all over the place. Feynman from the 80s. Since. And then SDF, well, it's going to take time to reconstitute SDF as a real functional party, given that, I mean, a lot of the, let's call them the founding fathers, one of the last men standing in the SDF during John Fruity's time was Justice Nyo Wakai, even before his death. Uncle Wakai had cold feet. Pa Atekwana is there. Pa Atekwana, in fact, I read something which made me very surprised from him. These are Pa Atekwana implanted SDF in Vomeka, implanted SDF in Yokaduma, and all the way to the frontier with Gabon. Pa Atekwana, in fact, SDF was more popular in the central and south provinces, Pa Atekwana, than even John Fundi. But regardless, let Jojo and his people register the voters with Elecam and let us have real elections in Cameroon.
Definitely, when we get to the CPDM, maybe next week we're going to have that conversation. Today we're focusing on the SDF and its chances. So I'm going to come back to you, Michel, and see like you were trying to respond to what Jojo said. Or you can go ahead.
Oui, il est important de comprendre l'importance de situer le SDF sur un plan national. Parce que l'erreur que vous commettez, c'est de vouloir jouer le jeu du RDPC qui consiste à localiser les partis dans des régions spécifiques. Et vraiment, nous ne tomberons pas dans ce piège. Et comme ça, ils vont profiter et dire qu'ils sont les seuls à avoir l'assise nationale. C'est un piège et je vous le dis encore. Le SDF n'est pas un parti d'une seule région du Cameroun. C'est un parti national et qui a ses représentants dans tout le Cameroun. Et vous pouvez le vérifier. Moi, j'insiste et persiste là-dessus. Le piège de la base du parti, c'est que si on cite Cabral Libi, on va dire c'est le parti des Bassa. On a tué l'UPC avec cette mentalité. En faisant croire que l'UPC, c'est le parti des Bassa. Le MLC aussi aujourd'hui, on dit c'est le parti des Bamileke. Et toute personne qui vient contre Paul Biya, on fait tout pour le loger dans un coin et ça s'arrête là comme s'il n'y a que là où lui il peut s'étendre.
But they say the same thing to the CPDM that the CPDM.
No.
That's what we've been saying here.
No.
In our conversation here, right? That every political dispensation, even though it is a national entity, has a base.
Mais il faut le prouver.
Right? It seems like you saying the CPDM is concentrated in Bialan, which is the center.
Non,
the south,
I
and the
never
east.
say that. Le SDF a déjà gagné dans la Damawa, a eu des élus dans la Damawa. Vous le savez. Pourquoi le SDF a eu des élus dans le littoral. Donc vous ne pouvez pas me piéger, me pousser à dire que le SDF c'est un parti d'une quelconque région. Le SDF... Non. J'ai même un truc important pour toi. J'ai pas encore fini. Donc, il est important ici qu'on soit d'accord sur ce point que je suis là pour vous loger dans l'idée que le SDF est un parti national et que son représentant au choix aussi a fait un programme pour tout le Cameroun. Le moment venu, il va vous l'étaler et vous allez... L'un des premiers points, dans son programme même, c'est important de vous le dire, parce que ce programme est arrêté en 5 points. Je vous le lis. Il dit, les 100 premiers jours, mettre fin à la violence dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest. En un an, restaurer la dignité des populations du Grand Nord. En 3 ans, mettre en place un référendum constitutionnel qui va ramener le Cameroun dans le fédéralisme. 4e point, instaurer la gratuité des cartes nationales d'identité. 5e point, supprimer l'examen du probatoire. Donc, quand quelqu'un a déjà une vision sur un plan national et qu'on va venir faire un débat disant qu'on le loge dans une région du Cameroun, moi je pense que c'est diminuer le parti, c'est le dévaluer. Et je refuse cela. Je vais chuter sur le... Non, je ne peux pas laisser le type sur l'affaire de 92. Oui. Je voulais finir. Please, I want to finish with that. Yeah.
Hold on to that thought.
Okay. Can I just add something? Okay, go ahead.
Nobody is trying to box the SDM or any other political party into one particular region, except you are not understanding the context that we are saying. That in as much as every political party is a national party, they must have a base. That has been the fundamental issue that you probably might not have understood what we're saying.
Yeah.
We're not saying that the SDF is limited to the Northwest and Southwest region. We're saying that it has a base. You have a base in your home, but you can go everywhere in this Maryland. That's what we're saying. And then to go to the vision that he has established, definitely we're going to look at that and compare with other visions of
Ok, sur quels critères vous allez... Ok, je vais revenir sur l'affaire de 1900. Donc, avant même d'arriver là, laisse-moi te dire que si vous voulez vous en tenir peut-être sur les résultats qu'on fait pour localiser un parti dans une quelconque région, moi je crois que le SDF, c'est vrai, a souvent eu la majorité de ses élus dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest.
L'ouest aussi.
Et l'ouest aussi, et le littoral, et la Damawa. Parce que je me rappelle que dans une élection sénatoriale, le SDF a perdu les élections dans le nord-ouest, mais les a gagnées dans la Damawa. Au Cameroun, ça s'est passé bien dans ce Cameroun-là. Bon, pour revenir dans l'affaire de 92 où Jojo Péquois voudrait nous distraire avec l'histoire selon laquelle on ne doit pas laisser les autres venir nous dire qui concerne nos élections. Moi, je pense que c'est encore une fuite en avant parce qu'on sait que ces gens, dans leur banditisme naturel, ont fait venir des faux observateurs au Cameroun. Ils sont toujours dans l'art de tromper les Camerounais. C'est pourquoi je dis le RDPC ne peut pas gagner une élection face à Joshua aussi bien préparé. En 92, c'est un des membres du RDPC lui-même, à la personne de Albert Zongwa, qui a reconnu que le SDF, le chairman a gagné les élections. Ils ont arraché. Ça a été dit dans les médias du Cameroun. Ces messieurs savent très bien que quand les gens luttent, on est obligé d'appeler les gens pour nous séparer. Dans tous les conflits du monde, on voit des observateurs ou bien les médiateurs pour venir remettre la paix. Ce n'est pas pour rien que les Desmond Tutu sont venus au Cameroun à cette occasion, parce que le monde entier savait que le chairman John Frundi a gagné. L'ambassadrice Koch l'avait bien reconnu, avait dit que c'est le SDF, c'est le chairman qui a gagné, mais il voulait lui proposer le poste de vice-président. Mais Biya n'est pas président du Cameroun depuis 92. Nous vivons dans un faux. Quand un faussaire récupère quelque chose qu'il ne peut pas gérer, le résultat ne se fait pas entendre. C'est 43 ans, on n'a rien au Cameroun. Qu'est-ce qu'ils vont encore proposer? Le SDF est en train de vous dire que nous devons changer le système. Mettre un système tel que chaque région du Cameroun peut élire ses gouverneurs pour gérer la région, et ça deviendra même une antichambre pour se préparer à la présidentielle. C'est pourquoi ils ont peur de nous et tentent à vouloir faire croire que le SDF c'est un parti qui est le parti des anglophones et consorts.
Oh, vraiment, Michel, pardon, je crois que c'est mon temps. Hein. Vraiment, devenons un peu sérieux. Le Cameroun, c'est un grand pays. Le 237, il n'y a qu'un seul 237 sur la planète. Vraiment, Michel, quand vous dites, je préfère m'exprimer en anglais parce que je crois que notre audience est plus anglophone ici aux États-Unis. I just want to emphasize one thing, right, which is very important. We were talking about the stronghold. Quand on parle du base, it's a stronghold. In the Western world, any political party have what they call a stronghold. Like in America, Democrats have California, Maryland, New York, those states. Although the Republican voters is already like state winning up front. So all we are saying here to brother, my comrade Michel here, my co-panelist who don't understand the
je comprends très bien, je ne tombe pas dans ce piège, c'est tout ce que
in Cameroon, although CPDM was created in Bamenda in 1985, you definitely going to believe that CPDM always stronghold is the south, the center, the east, and somehow the West region, because the West region are supporting the CPDM strongly financially. You can just see the special advisor of the head of state a very close advisor to the head of state is from the West region. So all I'm saying is this: SDF is just a sinking boat. Joshua Osih have to do a very deep work, very, very deep work. And the layout is a different layout from 1992 where people was kind of blinded. Nowadays, people are very open-minded. The speech have to be concrete. We were talking about Joshua Osih to be an elite. Il faut être sur le terrain. You have to be on the ground field, ground zero, talking to people door to door to make them to understand when you be a leader. As they always say, our Paul Biya is hidden in Bomaka. To be on the ground field, we haven't seen Joshua Osih at Marché Central or Ambopi or Commando to say, hello, my name is Joshua Osih. Because when I first saw Joshua Osih, it was at the special dinner at the Prime Minister, Dr. Chief John Wute, at LAC. It was the private dinner. So I was very privileged to be selected into that kind of environment. So then I exchanged with him. If he is watching this platform right now, I remember because my Jojo is from Joshua. So he's my Omonim, right? He happened to tell the Prime Minister that, wow, that young man is brilliant. And I happened to give me his business card and asked me to pay him a visit. His office is right here in Alexandria, Virginia, few blocks from where we are sitting right now. So Joshua Osih is a brilliant person, but the approach of what is it bringing, he cannot inherit for the ashes of losers, as the brother Kenneth just said on this platform. What is accusing CPDM for is the same thing that SDF have been doing for decades. But let me tell you something. In the CPDM, you see me? I'm a CPDM member, right? But I'm still a single soldier. Like, I'm a self-employed. I work hard. When people say, why in CPDM, why only Paul Biya? No. I'm at the section. I was in the youth for many years. Now I'm at the section. Do you want me to kill my papa, go bury him because I just want to be the chop chair? What kind of nonsense Cameroonian people are thinking? Because, oh, Paul Biya is 92. Is there a difference between 92 and 80? If Paul Biya is 92, Trump is 80, what's the difference? At the end of what they call the same clan. C'est pas le same clan d'âge. They're the same clan d'âge. We are here in America because it's in the Western world. It's okay. In Africa, oh, unbelievable. That's horrible. That cannot happen. Yes, it's going to happen. Just be ready.
Let me give you something.
The election coming up, I still my time. I have maybe 2 more minutes. The election is coming. We probably haven't declared if he's going to run or not. And I don't know why people are so excited. They already have like scratching all that. Chill out. Le président de la République aime le Cameroun. Les Camerounais d'abord aiment le Cameroun. Il ne faut pas passer le temps à dissimuler les fonds, détourner les fonds. Et dès qu'on parle, dès que le chef de l'État lui-même dit que mes ministres détournent. Quand vous êtes dans votre maison et que l'enfant vole la viande, c'est la maman qui a demandé qu'il aille voler la viande dans la marmite. Quand la maman prépare, elle met les plats de nourriture, elle met une viande dans le plat de chacun. Et chacun mange son plat avec sa viande. Après, quand dans tout le monde, X ou Y va voler une autre viande, c'est la maman qui l'a envoyée ou c'est le papa. Comprenez que notre pays, c'est un bien national. Les Camerounais ont des comportements déviants. On ne peut pas l'assimiler au chef de l'État. Et c'est de la simple vérité. Désolé. On dira qu'il a racheté du RDPC. Désolé.
Even though we're not dealing with the CPDM today, I think you also agree that the fish would only start to get rotten from the head. You can accuse the Cameroonians of being deviant and absolve the president of that responsibility.
There's not only fish on planet Earth as animal. There's not only fish. Si j'entends tout le monde dire le poisson pourri par la tête. Oh là 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 là, il n'y a pas que le poisson sur la terre. Hein. Il y a autre chose sur la terre que le poisson.
When they say Ali Baba and the 40 thieves, there is Ali Baba who is the leader of those thieves.
Mais comment?
You cannot in any way absolve
Tu ne
President
peux pas
Biya,
dissocier Biya de
who
tous
came
ces
in
voleurs.
and declared rigor and moralization, and then turn off having an entire cabinet in jail.
Et pourquoi
That
il ne
means
recrute que
there is
des
a problem.
voleurs?
Ça montre,
We'll deal with that when we come with the
ça
CPDM.
montre la transparence.
So let's
Monsieur,
go back.
pourquoi
Let's go back.
ces choix ne se portent que sur
Kenneth,
des voleurs?
Kenneth,
Plus de sur 30 millions de Camerounais, peut-être 29
Kenneth,
millions sont des voleurs.
Ah bon,
yes, guys,
ok.
let's get Kenneth over here. I'm gonna go.
C'est notre pays, désolé.
Since we were focusing,
Son système de gestion c'est basé sur des voleurs.
Since-
Acceptez cela.
since all right, guys, Kenneth.
Yes.
I think Michelle tried to present the vision of the SDF. I think if you read what Honorable Joshua presented as his platform to assume the leadership of that country, he promised, the very first point, he promised to end the violence in the southern Cameroon or the two English-speaking regions within 100 days if elected. But he remains the only SDF parliamentarian who joined the CPDM members to call for the repatriation or the deportation of southern Cameroon activists back to the gulags in Cameroon. How do you reconcile this particular position? Again, he has not engaged in any constructive engagement with the leadership of this movement to either understand what is really their aspirations, or even popularly call for the release of these leaders. Those whose hands have not been dirtied with blood, people like Seseko, Julius Ayokabe, and the leadership team in Kundengi. What has Joshua done? I know these questions, again, I would try to avoid Michelle thinking that we're trying to box him in, but as a national leader, what role has he played? You can turn around and you're talking about 100 days, I will end the violence, without you explaining us exactly how you're going to end that violence.
Okay.
Now, Michelle, before you come in,
Yeah.
Kenneth.
Yes. Brado, it's Joshua Osih has done a lot for call it the Anglophone struggle. The unfortunate reality is that what he has done, I think, has not really received enough publicity. You see, when MP Joseph Werber was in parliament, and I believe even before Werber went on stage, and my memory is a little bit foggy there, whether it was before or after, but Joshua is one of those who stood on the parliamentary floor, and this may even have been before he was chairman, I'm not exactly sure, can't remember. But anyway, he's one of those who stood on the parliamentary floor and did what the rough equivalent of what we call here a filibuster, where he refused the Ujila chief, what's the name, Kairaye Yege Dribil, voila, where he refused the Speaker of the House from talking and moving the agenda without them addressing the Anglophone problem. And those, what he did has been out there in the media on WhatsApp and other social media platforms. So these are some of the things that Joshua also has done.
Hold that thought. I don't want us to be just this vague. If you say he has done a lot, what exactly? Because if you say a lot, it means you know. You can just say a lot and then just brush over it and say, point out one instance before the crisis. We are talking after and during the crisis. What exactly has Honorable Osih done to bring an end to this crisis? So that when you're talking to people, you have the luxury to say, okay, step one, he had called for immediate release of the prisoners. Step two, he has called for an inclusive dialogue. Step three, this is what he has done. You can't just say that he has done a lot without you telling the viewers and the electorate that this is what he has done.
I am aware of the fact that, quite frankly, he has made some efforts to have the prisoners released. He has that has happened. That's just a fact. It may not have received as much publicity, but honestly, that has happened, and that effort was stonewalled at the level of the presidency of the republic with people like Ferdinand Bongo, who have a vested interest, and the other one, the interior minister, who all have a vested
him making
interest.
that position and calling for the repatriation of those same leaders to be tried in Cameroon? How do you reconcile that?
Well, you know, I mean, look, Brado, that's what you're referring to. I saw that letter and I saw his signature on it, and I was a little bit surprised. I don't know whether it's one of those type of things that those people in parliament put people's signatures on anything without their consent, or that he actually did sign it, you know. But yeah, those were one of those things that you would not expect that his signature would have been on there. You know what I mean?
I'm going to go to
So,
Michelle. I know Michelle wants to respond to that, but to confirm to you, Honorable Nietzsche, when we had a meeting with him, confirmed that even the SDF had to repudiate him for joining the SDF and signing that letter that was circulated out here. Michelle, what is your take on that? For the 100 days.
Ok, il est quelque chose de très important. Je vous ai dit ici que nous sommes à 6 mois de l'élection présidentielle. Vous voyez, nous sommes à 6 mois. Toi, tu me demandes de me dire comment il va opérer ça dans les 100 jours. Mais, monsieur, je te dis que nous sommes à 6 mois de l'élection présidentielle. Il y a des gens qui prétendent qu'ils seront candidats. Ils ne se sont pas encore prononcés. 2, il y a des gens qui n'ont pas de programme, comme ceux du RDPC. Ils n'ont pas de... Donc, c'est comme la guerre. C'est une stratégie. Moi, j'ai lu les grandes lignes pour que vous compreniez que nous avons des visées là-dessus. Nous avons un programme là-dessus. Et dans ce programme, nous le ferons en 100 jours, une fois au pouvoir, pour réconcilier, pour régler le problème du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest. Parce que le chairman Osih a été introduit dans les plus grandes négociations. Dans l'affaire dont vous croyez qu'on va un peu discuter là, c'est parce que il y a certains qui ont été condamnés. Et comme leur condamnation demandait que les parlementaires camerounais signent cela en collaboration avec les parlementaires américains, et que Joshua était parmi, ceux aujourd'hui qui ont été condamnés en veulent aussi, en oubliant que ils ont posé des actes qui ont causé la mort de nos militants dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest. Ils ont cotisé l'argent, ils ont acheté les armes et on a tué nos militants. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez que le chairman va dire par rapport à ces militants du SDF qui sont morts? Donc, si vous attendez que je vous étale ça c'est pour donner l'opportunité aux gens du RDPC d'avoir une idée de ce qu'ils vont faire, parce qu'ils n'ont jamais rien fait en 43 ans. C'est une stratégie politique. La politique, c'est comme la guerre. Chacun affûte ses armes, il y a le contexte, l'environnement, tout cela, ça joue. Mais rassurez-vous, quand le corps électoral sera convoqué et qu'on donnera l'opportunité aux candidats d'aller sur le terrain, expliquer exactement comment ça va s'opérer, je vous jure, notre chairman va étaler et tout le monde sera convaincu que c'est possible. Parce que, je n'ai pas fini, vous êtes pressé. Donc, je comprends son empressement parce qu'il est comme ça. Donc, pour être clair dans ce que je dis, le programme que le chairman Osih a déroulé en 5 points là est un programme réalisable. Il est pratique et il va se faire. Le moment venu, qu'on soit même dans une coalition, parce que c'est une opportunité et une autre possibilité qui peut s'envisager le moment venu. Mais il est bon de connaître les adversaires que le SDF aura en face, ce qu'ils ont comme programme, comme je sais que d'autres n'en ont pas, et veulent profiter de ce que le SDF dit pour avoir une idée, de parler aux Camerounais. Sur la question anglophone particulièrement, et vous savez très bien que lui-même, il est issu de la région anglophone. Il ne peut pas laisser sa région natale quand même dans des problèmes. Il y a des solutions, mais le contexte ne s'y est pas pour le moment. Prenez votre mal en patience.
Je réponds rapidement. Permettez-moi de répondre rapidement aux 30 millions de Camerounais. J'ai toujours trop entendu dire, I always listen say Le poisson pourri par la tête des fiches get roasted from the head. Sorry, guys. The tree dies from the roots. Quand on veut tuer un arbre, on coupe les racines. Les Camerounais qui sont les racines de ce pays, qui doivent tenir l'homme lion, qui a eu la vision, je veux dire, autant pour moi, de construire un grand pays. Peut-être on n'a pas de gratte-ciel, on n'a pas les routes qu'ils escomptent, mais tout l'argent que le chef de l'État met sur place du budget sont dans vos comptes. Comptes des Camerounais, qu'ils soient membres du gouvernement ou qu'ils soient de la société civile, les Camerounais sont des gens pédants.
Back to the topic.
Ok, ça c'était juste, il faut qu'on retienne ça. Chaque fois que vous dites que le poisson pourrit par la tête, rappelez-vous que l'arbre meurt par les racines.
No.
La question que, monsieur le journaliste, I'm back to the question. Honorable Joshua Osih, as I said at my early statement on this platform, he's just a loser. He's smart, but he don't have the strategy. You cannot tell me, as I heard Brother Tubanyang here said at the beginning of our exchange, that it's been 9 years. I believe that what you said. You haven't gone to his own constituency. Do you believe, where I'm from, if there's a situation, I cannot use the tactic, as he was asking to Brother Nde to explain what is the technique that Honorable Joshua going to use to put in 100 days peace in the northwest and southwest. I'll just say it this way. If I was Joshua, 9 years away from your village and you want to run Cameroon, my friend, get out of here. Get out of here. If it was in my village, I will find any way to reach the chief, to reach the young boys, to find a way to talk to them, to ask what is happening. Do you believe Honorable Joshua cannot have a tank, military tank, or even to sneak overnight, to go to see these guys, who is his brothers and cousins and nephews, to say, let's stop this thing in his own tribal language. Talk to them on the terre-à-terre. Like, I want to run this thing, you guys going to be good. He haven't done so. 9 years, he's so afraid to go to his own village, right? So when he's going to be in Yaoundé, we from the CPDM, we're just going to go on the street to say, oh, we are rallying. He's going to run from the presidency. So we cannot have somebody like that as the head of state of Cameroon. You have to be strong.
Thank you, Jojo. I think this is getting very interesting, but we have to, I think we're running out of time. To go back to your defense of your president,
yes,
Mr. Paul Biya, even in your own household, I don't think that if your children become defiant, they're going to hold the children responsible. There's always a father figure in the house. So in as much as you might want to absolve yourself that, oh, you know what, the children are responsible for their own behavior and their own upbringing, everybody is going to be pointing to you. So there is no way you're going to absolve Paul Biya. We can disagree to agree on that. Even the most observers will tell you that leadership counts in every organization. Even for you running your own private businesses, the only way you are succeeding is the level of leadership that you provide, not your employees. Your employees go in line with the leadership that you provide. So if what is happening in that country, even the situation in the two regions, in as much as we're going to hold Osih for not visiting his own region, we are not in any way saying that Paul Biya has not been responsible for, first of all, declaring the war in the two English-speaking regions. So, Michel.
Yes.
Osih talked a lot about Article 66 of the Constitution, that is declaration of assets. In 2018, he did not declare his assets. In 2025, he has not declared his assets. Don't you lead by example?
D'abord, il faut savoir que l'article 66 a été promulgué, mais il n'y a pas eu... a été voté, mais ça n'a pas été promulgué. Donc, ça reste encore dans les tiroirs. Et Paul Biya lui-même, il sait pourquoi il n'a pas fait à ce que on applique cet article 66 sur la déclaration des biens.
No, but you don't have to depend on the...
Non, je vais revenir.
You don't have to depend as somebody with a good moral standing in society.
Yes.
You do not require a law to say, all right, I'm advocating for this 66. You can say, I'm going to declare that to show that I have nothing to hide. You don't need until that is signed into law before you can say, I am going to honor this provision because it is the right thing, moral standing, and for transparency. Why has he not done so in 2018 and 2025? Are we going to wait until a day before the elections if it is not signed into law? So he's just going to go along and say, you know what, it's not been signed into law, I'm not going to declare my assets.
Bon, d'accord. Je comprends très bien la question. Pourquoi il n'a pas déclaré en 2018 est-ce que jusqu'à maintenant il n'a pas déclaré ses biens? Bon, en 2018, il n'a pas été élu comme président. Je crois que c'est un acte qu'on pose quand on accède à la fonction suprême au Cameroun.
No, that's not true.
Oh,
Every political office and civil servant
Attends,
is supposed to do that.
j'ai pas fini. Quand vous allez sur, même vous tapez même Google là maintenant là, c'est énuméré ce que Osih fait. Il y a sa biographie, il y a ses activités là-dedans. Mais il ne peut déclarer ses biens, c'est quand on accède à la fonction. Ça se fait partout comme ça là. Et en 2010, quand vous allez les lire, avant qu'il n'entre en fonction comme président de la République, je crois qu'il va commencer par cela. Parce que en ce moment, c'est nous fonctionnons selon les règles de ce que ceux qui sont au pouvoir, le parti État et RDPC, nous imposent.
You don't need a law to do that. That's my question to you.
Mais on n'a pas besoin de loi. Comment moi, un candidat va aller déclarer la loi?
Aujourd'hui, avec les nouvelles formules des impôts, tout le monde a déclaré ce qu'il a. Donc, on n'a pas besoin de loi pour cela.
Aucun Camerounais n'a encore déclaré ses biens. Aucun Camerounais.
So you have to live by example. Now let's agree that.
Aucun Camerounais n'a encore déclaré ses biens. Paul Biya n'a pas déclaré ses biens. Pourquoi lui va aller déclarer?
His vision and strategy is not dependent on what Paul Biya does.
Thank you.
You want to impress the electorate. And the argument and the cry of Cameroonians have been that most of these elected officials and government ministers have been amassing a lot of wealth in ways that are very untoward to the economy. So to avoid that, let's declare our assets. He himself said during that podcast that is a problem. And Bala asked him that, won't you lead by example by declaring your assets? And he came around and said, oh, well, I have to go talk to my campaign team. He has nothing to do with his campaign team.
Non, we have to. Non. Nous ne pouvons pas faire ça. Dans une république de voleurs comme ça, qui ne te dit pas que demain on va venir le braquer?
Agree. That's what I wanted us to agree. Kenneth, that question goes back to you so that we try to wrap up. Now you see that there's politics all over the place. Kenneth.
Yes. Brother, what's exactly the question? Asset declaration?
Yes, exactly. 66. He argued that it's been promulgated, but it has not been signed into law. But the question is not dependent on whether it is signed into law or not. As a candidate who wants to do things differently, do you think it is incumbent upon him to declare those assets publicly, to tell people that I'm going to be different?
Okay. If we look at the root of what this regime, Paul Biya regime, and the people surrounding him from ENAM, those guys, when you see the root core of how they came about that law, so-called declaration of assets, it's a very shallow way of very I don't even know what to say, way of implementing what is supposed to be done. You see, here in the US, we pay taxes. You pay individual taxes at an individual level, and then if you own a company, you pay company taxes. So in Cameroon, let's say nobody declares their assets, right? Okay, if you own a building somewhere, you have to pay real estate taxes, pay your workers, pay, say, NPS, whatever the name of you have to pay all those things, right? So a roundabout way of not implementing the law, or if you don't even know how to go about implementing the law, is a very lazy way of what CPDM and those NM people around there are doing. How many people do we know in Cameroon pay taxes? People leave NM, the tax section, and then they go around destroying businesses in the claiming that they are collecting taxes, whereas they are on the receiving end of those taxes, right? So, I mean, you declaration de bail. Okay, you are declaring what to who and when to the state? How? For the state to collect taxes or for what to happen? You see, these are the, I mean, Brado, this regime has 68 or maybe even
Hey, Kenneth,
70 ministers.
Kenneth, we can't speak with both sides of our mouths. The question is very straightforward. Do you think that it is in his best interest, given that he's advocating for Article 66, for him to declare? That's from him. It's not from any other person. I'm not going to say CPDM and NAM and all of that stuff. Given that he's advocating for that article, do you think that it is best for him to declare his assets? You don't have to declare them to anybody. Hold a press conference and say, these are my
I,
assets. What is holding him to that?
the, Brado, there, to me, I mean, I don't even, anyway, within the Cameroon body policy, they're talking about those things, Article 66. For me, I mean, if he said that, okay, fine. But I wouldn't. I would,
You
because
look like you are Osih
it's
guy.
not even, no,
Let's wrap up. Let's wrap up. Ken, you don't look like you have So I'm going
no,
to do the wrap up here. Since you are on it, please, we run out of time. Can you give us your final thoughts, and then Jojo, and then Michelle?
Thank you.
okay, well, all right. Well, finally, my final thoughts simply that 2025 is a decisive year, and we would like those opposition parties, be they those of Vondo, what's his name, Kabal Libri, Joshua Osih Akeremuna, and maybe even the one of MRC,
Camto.
Camto Maurice Camto, voila. Well, it would be nice for these guys to all come together. You do not push a tree by going around the tree and all of you are pushing from all directions. Come, stand on one side and push away that log of wood that is blocking and disturbing the road. Please. The opposition folks should come together and pick an Anglophone candidate. Please. That
Thank
is
you.
my final word.
Jojo.
Okay, thank you. We are getting to the end of this beautiful exchange. It was very fruitful. It was very engaging. We can tell we all love Cameroon. We disagree to agree. Few years back, somebody come and tell me, "Oh, you have so much energy. Why can you not overturn Paul Biya?" And I said what I told earlier. The father have to live on the will of God. If God willing him to be the chosen, the leaders are the chosen of God. So he's the chosen. On the topic that brought us on this table today, on the SDF capacity of maybe overturn us or any other end, we all believe and know that in Cameroon there's no two political party that can win this election because all the rest are very disorganized. It's just hungry people who are shaking, making a bunch of noise, maybe to expect attention from us, to give us, you know, how can I say, a camera to express himself. They keep doing that. We don't like it because we, even from the CPDM, wish for a real democracy. We wish a strong opposition that can be a check and balance. I am a CPDM stronghold. But if there's no check and balance, how will I know I'm doing a good job? As I'm speaking, Cameroonians are very intelligent. They join the CPDM because there's nobody across the aisle. And we are happy, we are proud of it. So, my brother Michel, when you go to your own constituency, your vote, your constituency, Give them the real speech, the speech like us we are doing by saying that you guys are hiding strategy, blah, 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 blah. This is just really the blah, 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 blah. Cameroon is going peaceful. I just come from Cameroon about 2 weeks ago. I don't know what people here abroad across the ocean thinking about the country. Everything is stable. We have some instability now and then, like any plane that take off, there might be turbulence, but at the end, the plane land. Cameroon is on this own journey. We're never going to be France, America, because no two countries on the earth have same history.
Thank you.
It's sad that we're observing things that we should have avoided. We hope for the better. In God, we trust. Cameroon will be a great place for in each of us.
Thank you, Jojo.
God bless you.
Michel, your final thoughts?
Ouais, merci encore une fois de plus pour l'honneur que vous m'avez fait en m'invitant sur vos plateaux. Je voudrais ici là dire aux Camerounais, les yeux dans les yeux. Aujourd'hui, quand vous prononcez le nom de Paul Biya devant un Camerounais, sa tension monte. Pourquoi? Parce que il est le destructeur de l'avenir. Il a tué tout ce que le Cameroun pouvait espérer avoir comme bonheur pour la prospérité. Malheureusement ou heureusement, Dieu nous a envoyé un homme. Il s'appelle Joshua. Même dans la Bible, Moïse a conduit le peuple d'Israël, mais il n'est pas arrivé à la terre promise. Ce n'est pas pour rien que celui qui devait conduire ce peuple vers la terre promise s'appelait Joshua aussi. Ce n'est pas pour rien que quand vous avez lancé ce programme, cette thématique, vous avez commencé par Joshua aussi. Il n'y a pas le hasard là-dedans. Même pas l'alphabet, ça ne commence pas par son nom. Le Cameroun a trouvé son sauveur. Il s'appelle Joshua aussi. Il promet. Et ça, c'est un homme de parole. C'est un entrepreneur. Il est dans la gestion des sociétés. Il est dans le milieu aéronautique. Tout ce qu'il fait, ça réussit. Il est dans l'hôtellerie. Le programme en 5 points qu'il a élaboré, c'est-à-dire celui qui va permettre à ce que le Cameroun revienne dans le fédéralisme. Cette vision qui peut amener les Camerounais à se réapproprier leur souveraineté et propulser leur développement est venu le moment tant attendu pour le porter à la tête de ce pays. Donc, chers Camerounais, chers compatriotes, merci. Merci aussi pour tous ceux qui nous regardent et nous suivent depuis. Le candidat Joshua aussi a parcouru les 360 communes du Cameroun. Il ne fait pas le bruit. Comme certains partis qui se font voir sur les plateaux de télévision et les réseaux sociaux.
Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you, Michel. Thank you, Kenneth, and thank you, Jojo. This was quite exciting, and I'm very hopeful that we would continue to engage in this constructive dialogue into looking for collective solutions to try to remedy the dire situation in Cameroon. We can, like we said from the beginning, disagree to agree. It is practically not possible for us to agree on everything. We look at things from different prisms, and definitely we have different experiences in life that informs the way we engage with one another. So this week we are focused on Honorable Joshua Osih and the chances of the SDF. Is the SDF a shadow of itself? I think that judgment remains to the electorate to decide. And this is going to be based on what they are going to present to the people as their platforms and policies that they're going to do differently. Same with the other political parties, notably the CPDM, the MROC, Isaac Cabra, Libby, and all of them that are vying to really represent Cameroon. Hopefully we're going to be again next weekend. I think we'll be focusing on the CPDM.
Okay, that's good.
And we definitely want to make sure that we also look at their 43 years of stewardship 40 years, given that CBDM was in 1985.
Thank
Yes.
For leading that country. So once again, thank you to all our viewers. This is a spotlight on media to Africa TV Live from Washington, D.C. Good night. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.